he was down there with the legal defense team for the Freedom Riders.
For me, terrifically, too.
The obligatory what?
Well, you see, white liberals can't give a party.
This is my first book. Someone has to write that sort of thing.
I saw thousands, literally thousands.
That you said his brains with the bed.
Find anything? Any luck?
Oh, no, not yet.
What have you got? Tax record?
No, the 1870 census.
Oh, dear. Tax records are better. People are much more careful about taxes. The census was a little devil-may-care. How long have you been at it?
5 hours. You know, I never knew there were so many people in Alamance County.
Looking for anyone in particular?
My great-grandfather,
Oh, what name?
Harvey.
Oh, well, there's certainly a lot of Harvey lines in Tidewater. They're the Colonel Lucius Harveys and the Altamaha Harveys from... But, oh, he wouldn't be one of those Harveys.
Probably not.
Well, cheer up. It once took me 6 weeks to find a Randolph. Can you imagine that? A Randolph. Why, you can't sling a dead cat around these parts without hitting a Randolph. Why do you want a Harvey?
Well, I'm trying to establish some documentary evidence tracing the family back.
Oh, I see. Of course, I can trace my family. That is mine, not my husband's. Back to William the Conqueror. I was a Powers. Well, that was originally Dupuy. French, you know. What was yours?
Toby, originally Kente, African.
Oh, how nice. Oh, I just think genealogy is a fascinating hobby, don't you? Of course, until it's time to get out the roses.
And I'll be very frank with you. I about had it. I've got to get back to my real work here in Washington. I can use about 6 aspirin.
Well, you're not going to give up so soon, are you?
5 hours trying to read those steel pen chicken tracks is enough for me.
Let's see. I mean, that's it, isn't it? You said Harvey, didn't you? Harvey Thomas B. That's for black.
Blacksmith, age 37, wife Irene. Children, age 3, Elizabeth. Oh my God! That's Aunt Liz! My cousin George's stories about Spotsylvania County that led me to you, Dr. Lewis.
Well, Mr. Haley, if your story is accurate, we may be blood relatives. Extraordinary.
Well, there's something even more incredible.
What's that?
At some point, not too far back, your ancestors may have owned mine.
Well, let's see if we can find out for sure, one way or another. Well, this is the ledger for the Reynolds plantation of Upper Spotsylvania County for the years 1842, 1844. And my great-grandfather obviously kept very careful records of Negro births and deaths. Here, you see? The mother's name and age, the father's name, where known. That's surprising. Nearly all the cases, the relationships remain constant.
Well, it's not so surprising, Dr. Lewis. They were told who to marry, and they were told how long to stay married.
I guess you're right. Well, I never really thought all that much about it.
Well, now, do you think you might have the records that I need? A man named Toby who had a child, Kizzy.
Well, you have to understand the plantation ledgers are not complete. Most of them were destroyed just after the Civil War.
But you must have other family papers.
Look, the trouble is you don't know which Reynolds you're looking for. Our family was spread all over the county. I'm a Reynolds on my mother's side, as you know.
Well, there just got to be some kind of way we can check the county
hold on.
records.
Now, hold on, Mr. Haley. I don't want to seem hard to get along with, but tracing your genealogy is not the most important thing in my life. I definitely want to help. But if I can't, I can't. That's all there is to it.
I'm very sorry. Anything you can do, I'd be most appreciative. I couldn't help but notice, did your family always raise horses?
Oh, surely, with a passion. My grandfather, he was a doctor, too. Never heard of a man more dedicated to the improvement of the breed.
Your grandfather, did he keep a stud book of the stable?
Oh, absolutely.
Well, if you look in it, you might find that he also kept a breeding record of the slaves in it, too. Property. Remember? I have to go to Annapolis. I have reason to believe that my ancestors landed there, so if you could just contact the rest of the family and ask them to check the records that they have.
Yeah, of course, I will. I'm sorry. Mr. Haley, I really am.
Oh, there's no need. You did nothing wrong.
I really had no idea.
Well, very few people do, Dr. Lewis, and I intend to change all that.
We'd really like to help you, Mr. Haley. And we have the records that can help you, but you just do not have sufficient information.
Well, I've told you everything I know, every little shred.
I know, but you're talking about more than a 50-year span of time. Roughly 1740 through 1810. Do you have any idea how many vessels cleared this port? Not to mention the considerable number that went into the coves up the coast to avoid customs duties.
Well, isn't there any way we can check the slave ship manifests or the bills of sale?
I would say roughly over that time, over 100,000 Negroes were landed. We desperately need a clue, a place to start. What year, what ship, what owner, what was the captain's name?
At this moment, all I know is that he landed in Annapolis.
The truth is, Mr. Haley, Africa's a mighty big place, and the Atlantic's a mighty big ocean. There isn't any way in the world you can find what you're looking for here.
There's got to be.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Bye.
What's the matter with you? You don't answer your phone. I sent you a registered letter. That came back.
I was in Annapolis. You know, I didn't find a thing. I didn't have any leads. No name of the ship, no date, nothing. So I got to find it from the other end.
Fine. Find what?
The old African. Paul, how many black families do you know that can trace their origins back before the Civil War? How many black people know where they came from?
Now, what do you mean, black people?
The night that Malcolm X explained his X, there was such a feeling of loss. He said that X was like a wall that barred him from his ancestors. But my family knows. We got words. Now, in order to find him, I got to go all the way back to Africa where it all began. And Paul, you got to give me an advance.
I can't get you an advance from anybody. What do you want, a check from Playboy? They rejected the last article we sent them. Wait a minute, where are you going now?
I'm going to meet a man who may be able to tell me what those words mean.
Can I help you, sir?
Yes, I'm here to see a Mr. Joshua Mbura of Uganda.
Mbura.
Alex hated to see him. He's expecting me.
Mr. Mbura said he's very sorry. He had to leave for Paris. He'll be glad to make another appointment if you call next month.
Thank you. Thank you. Listen, Paul, I got to find somebody who can identify that language. How about Columbia, Harvard?
Listen, Alex, this thing is going to drive you crazy and make me poor. Now, give it up.
Sir, excuse me. I'm a journalist, Alex Haley. Would you mind if I ask you something? Do you recognize these words? Cambe Balongo. Ko. Sir, it's very important. You see, Cambe Balongo means river, and Ko is some sort of a musical instrument. Well, the point is, do you recognize that language?
I'm sorry, sir, but I haven't the faintest idea of what you're talking about. Good day to you, sir.
Well, I tell you, if you like to follow those kind of long shots, I definitely want to play poker with you sometime.
That UN delegate must have thought I was crazy.
When you first wrote to me, I thought we would discuss this matter by letter, methodically, like scholars. I didn't expect to find you on my doorstep in Wisconsin.
Your letter said that you might be able to help. I just got on the plane. Well, I gave you everything I had to go on. And to tell you the truth, Dr. Mancini, you're the last hope I got.
Well, Mr. Haley, it happens that the oral transmitting of history happens to be my particular interest. For instance, the American Indian handed down their clan and national histories only in that way, orally. This is a Maori talking chief from New Zealand. He can trace royal ancestries back 100 generations by memorized chants over and over. It's beautiful. Of course, there is a tradition which we don't think of as oral, but which existed for 1,000 years, by word of mouth only, until it was finally reduced to writing in King David's time. The Bible. And these oral histories are surprisingly accurate.
But, Doctor, in your letter you gave me no answer, and you still haven't. Can you identify the African words I gave you?
That word you told me that means guitar.
Ko.
No wonder your friend at the UN had trouble. Your African has a rather pronounced Tennessee accent. Ko, not go.
Ko.
Ko. I show you. You see, the body is a gourd covered with goat skin, 21 strings. This is called kora. Kora. It is the oldest string instrument in the Mandingo tribe. You see, you hold here, and you play with the thumbs.
Kora.
This could be the ko mentioned in your oral tradition. The last syllable would drop away under the influence of the plantation Creole.
No, Doctor, what about the other word, the word for river? Cambe Balongo.
The words seem to be in Mandinka, the language of the Mandingo tribe. Bolongo means river. So you see, your old ladies were quite accurate. And Gambi, Well, that is a little more speculative, but I think it is a fair inference that the word could well mean Gambia. Gambia. Now, I show you the west coast of Africa. You see now. Over here, Senegal, the estuary where the Gambia River runs to the sea. It is entirely possible, Mr. Haley, that your ancestor, the African, came from here. Gambia.
I will give you first refusal for any articles I write. Of course, exclusive. All I need is an advance to cover the expenses. Well, that's the whole point. I can't do it from here. I've got to go to Africa. Murray, it could be one whale of an idea. Well, yes, I know I promised you the interviews with Sammy Davis Jr., but I got involved with this thing. Well, that's a hell of an attitude. Okay, all right, forget it. Forget the whole thing.
Have you got a clean glass anywhere? Alex, are you in some kind of trouble?
Yeah, you're a lawyer. You handle that.
This is an eviction notice. How did that happen?
Well, George, I think it comes from not paying the rent.
All right. How much do you need?
$2,000.
For this place?
The airplane ticket to Africa and the expenses. George, I spent 6 weeks chasing all over Virginia for a bill of sale for a man called Toby. Well, there are Tobys all over Spotsylvania County. So I just can't be sure. So I've got to trace him all the way across to Africa, to Gambia, where... Hello? Yes, this is Alice Haley speaking. Yes, I'm ready. Yeah, hello? Sister Willada? This is Alex Haley. Bertha's boy, Alex.
Speak up, because you talk long distance and I got the arteries.
Bertha Palmer's boy. Cynthia Palmer was my grandma.
Are you calling Sister Willada in Henning?
Do you remember me, Sister Willada? Good. Sister Willada, I am in very big trouble. I need your help because there's just nobody else I can turn to. Now, you have always been a mighty powerful prayer. And I was wondering, are you still praying?
Oh, child, I be praying till they put me in my grave. And they best be careful about that first shovelful, because my mouth be still open.
Sister Willada, I am sending you a check for $100, and it'll be in the mail. And I want you to pray for me, for what I got to do. Can you do that?
Now, don't you worry. You hear? Now, you just hang up, son, because I'm going to start praying right now.
20 minutes ago, I swear, it wrecked with the parting of the Red Sea and the fall of Jericho. Hallelujah, Sister Willada, I can go. It is all clear. It is all set. I can go.
Where?
What do you mean, where? How can you say where? Where else would I be going? What have I been breaking my head trying to set up?
How would I know, Alex?
Africa! Africa! The River Gambia! I tell you, it's spooky. Last night, Sister Willada began to pull on the Lord's coattail. And this morning, the Reader's Digest called and said they'd pay all expenses for the trip as an advance. And the Lord then reached down his hand. Be on to Pleasantville, New York!
Do you believe that?
Woo. You know, I'm not knocking it. I wouldn't be surprised. You know, when I first started on this thing, Cousin Georgia said, child, they're all sitting up there watching you. So you do what you got to do. And you know, the first thing I've done that hasn't felt like taking some dumb test at school, and I don't care who approves, I am going to do what I am going to do.
If you would find yourself, you must first lose yourself.
Oh, who is that, Freud?
I think it's Jesus.
I hope you find what you're looking for.
Listen, I gotta find it, or else I'm not coming back. I'm not coming back until I do.
Alex, get your head out of the closet. I am saying goodbye.
Not now. Come with me to the airport. I'm flying from JFK to Dakar on Thursday at 11 a.m.
I didn't say bon voyage. I said goodbye.
Well, I prefer bon voyage.
I think a lot of it was my fault. I was too anxious about my PhD. Well, I've got it now, and...
Hey, marvelous. When?
I defended my dissertation 6 weeks ago.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yes, you did. I told you when you were leaving for North Carolina. You promised we'd celebrate when you got back.
Oh, yeah. Now I'm leaving for Africa.
You left for Africa a long time ago. But it's okay, Alex. Wouldn't have worked out. Two obsessives could never have made it.
I hate it when you use that vocabulary.
It is my goodbye. I'm entitled to choose the vocabulary. See, the trouble with us, Alex, is that contrary to the stereotype, we have no rhythm. Not together. Our timing is off. I am home with my PhD, and you're off chasing whatever in Africa.
Listen, when I get home...
You're going home, Alex. What you've been looking for is what you've always been looking for. Goodbye.
I prefer bon voyage.
And give my love to the old Africans.
TWA flight number 901 will be available for boarding momentarily. At this time, any passengers requiring assistance
That's your plane.
Take it easy, Dad.
Well, flight 901, that's yours.
No, we still got plenty of time to make it. You didn't have to come all the way to New York to see me off.
Well, I'm meeting George in Philadelphia on Saturday. He's coming for a National Republican Committee meeting.
Oh, yeah. I see. I'm glad you came.
Well, I certainly thought I should, after all. Africa is a long way off.
You know, I was thinking it took him months chained up in a slave ship, and I'll be there in 16 hours. Coach, but no chains.
Yes, we have come a long way.
Yeah, I guess we have. Dad, do you still think about how I didn't go back to college like you wanted me to?
Well, that was a long time ago, Alex.
You were disappointed, weren't you?
Well, I suppose I was at the time, yes, but I had to reconcile myself to the fact that my values were not exactly the same as yours.
You see, I was so busy running away from you, trying to be free, I never made it. Never was. I guess the only reason I never showed you anything I wrote, I thought you'd look at it and say inadequate, D-.
No, I never criticized your work, Alex.
Didn't know you read any of it.
Oh, yes. Yes, a great deal of it. Well, I read that. I borrowed it from the college library. Kept it overdue 4 days.
Well?
Well, what?
Well, what did you think of it?
Of course, I cannot condone his attack on Christianity. I've always accepted Jesus as my savior, and I'm sorry for anyone who doesn't.
Dad, what did you think of it?
Well, I kept thinking it was such a heavy book. Of course, it was in hardcover, but there must have been so much work, scholarship put into it. Well, it was almost like a thesis. A PhD dissertation.
Ladies and gentlemen, TWA flight number 901 for this
Alex,
car is now available.
You're going to be late.
I won't forgive you this.
But I just told you, I read it.
I know.
My dad. I no longer need his approval, but I will always need his love.
Have a nice flight. Thank you. Have a nice flight.
That's my son. He wrote this book.
I sympathize with your pious desires to find the trace of your distant ancestors. But, sir, there are estimates that over 14 million black Africans were kidnapped by slavers and carried off. The chances of tracing one chap from the others.
But if I know the language that he spoke and his name...
What name?
His African name.
I don't believe I heard that.
Did not tell that?
No, sir, I don't believe you did.
When his first master called him Toby, but he said that his name was Kente?
No, sir.
Kente? Look at the gala, Kente to Rumandenkela.
You sure of that, sir? Kinte?
He's passed on that way for 200 years. Kente.
Of course, you should have said that at first. Kinte would have been the clan or family name.
He's heard it? He knows that name?
The
old villages in the back countries are often named for the family that founded it centuries ago.
That is quite true, sir. There are many of them upriver.
Well, can I go there? Can I find the records of the births and deaths?
Ñu dundoon ak ñi deewoon. Ah, xam nga ne loolu daal yomb.
What's the matter? What's so funny?
Sir, until recently, the people in the bush, in the upriver country, were pre-literate. There were no written records, and certainly not several hundred years old.
Boobu kay ñooñu xamuñu ñaati nit ñoo nekk ci biir te boo bëggee xam dara ci suuf si doo ko mën a am ci kàddu griot.
Even today, we find difficulty with the census. We can hardly collect taxes on the words of a griot.
A griot. Now, what do you mean by that? What's a griot?
In these backcountry clans, there are old men, griots, who spend their lives remembering their histories and genealogies of their families.
Or like Grandma and Aunt Liz. Oral history, you mean?
Yes, sir.
Well, I got to talk to him. Now, how soon can I see him?
Who knows? There are no telephone lines. Perhaps we'd ask the district police to inquire, and in time, there might be some information.
My funds are quite limited, sir. How much time?
6 weeks, perhaps 8, and that, sir, is in the hands of God. Inshallah.
Usabe yalla.
All right. All right. All right. All right. All right. Yes, but what's the matter?
I'm sorry to be so unceremonious, sir, but
It's 3 o'clock in the morning.
yes, sir, and we must hurry, sir. The postal service line already departs at 4:30.
What do you mean?
We've got to be at the second crossing by noon tomorrow to catch the launch upriver.
Wait a minute, what's going on? Where are we going?
Sir, it's most unusual. The district nurse came down with a fever and was flown in by plane. The pilot mentioned that the old man is in Jufre.
Old man?
The griot. Keba Kanja Fofana. The griot of the Kinte line. He's in Jufre now. Hurry, sir. The driver of the postal Land Rover is very fastidious. He will not wait.
I'll be ready in 5 minutes.
Yes, sir.
You still breathe. What's that for?
He's announcing your arrival. You'll be passed along from one village to the next. Sir, Kebe Kanga Fufani says greetings.
Tell him greetings. Tell him I've come to hear the history of the Kinte clan because I have an ancestor who said that his name was Kinte.
I think he already knows, sir. The whole village knows.
Our
forefathers have told us that many of our people are in exile, away from our homes, in that place called America.
Tell him that the part I want to hear is about 200 years, give or take 50, so around about 1750.
Oh, no, sir. You cannot ask that.
I thought he memorized all of it.
Oh, yes, sir, but he's under a man, not a filing cabinet. Sir, the times are told by the rains and the rules of chiefs and the weather, not the European dates, sir. He must start at the beginning.
How far back is that?
Obagadorena.
Chosani Kinte Mungidor.
The Kinte clan began in the great empire of the old Mali, and that would be about 500 years ago.
Well, let's get started.
On the big water on the upper river, Kamaru, our Kinte, left the Malik land and traveled to the village of the Silverfish. And when he had 25 reigns, he married Balta, the daughter of Manin, and their children were Yaya, Bautu, and Fanta.
Mali.
The country did not have crab. Karibao Kinte went to the Gambia and lived in a village called Javaya. And when he had 31 reigns, he married a woman called Baya, and they had a son. Omari, Bota, Lanu, Ak Omaya.
Gannaaw loolu mu jëlaat beneen jabar Jiisa
He married a woman called
at
Yisa.
mi nga xamee ne am na ñaari tax ak xiif bi loolu war naa
In the year
nekk
that we had 2 rains and the hunger,
mu dem ci dëkk bu ñoo wax Jafe Kinte
he went to a village called Jaffa Kinte.
Yisa amal ko doom ñu tuddee Omaru
Yisa begot him a son called Omaru.
It's been hours. How far are we?
I don't know.
bi Omaru amee ñett fukki at
When he had 30 rains,
mu takka Binta Keba
he married Binta Keba,
ku ko amal ñeneenti doom yu góor
who gave him 4 sons.
ñu tuddee leen
And they were named
Kunta Lamin Swadu ak Madi
and Madi.
at mi nga xamee ne gelewaari buuri tubaab bi ñoom nañ ci réew mi
And about that time, the king's soldiers
doom ju
came.
góor ju mag ji Kunta
The eldest son, Kunta,
ki ne dafa dogi garab
left the village to cut a tree
ne dafa jagal sabar
to make himself a drum.
ca lañ ko gëj a gis
And that was the last time that he was seen.
What? What? Say that again. Tell him and say that again. Tell him and say that again.
Waxaat ko.
doom ju góor ju mag ji Kunta
The eldest son,
génn ci
Kunta,
dëkk bi
left the village
dem ne dafa dogi fa jagal sabar
to make a drum. And that was the last time that he was seen.
My God. Again.
Waxati ko.
doom ju góor ju mag ji
The eldest
Kunta
son, Kunta,
génn ci dëkk bi
left the village
dem ne dafa dogi garab
to cut a
ne
tree
dafa jagal sabar
to make himself a drum.
ca lañ ko gëj a gis
And that was the last time that he was seen.
And he say
Mu ne
he was out in the woods,
Ne defa
not
demoon ci
far
àll
from
ba.
his village, cutting down a tree to make himself a drum.
dafa demoon ci àll ba pour dogi garab pour def sabar.
And
Ba
when
tey
he was
musuñ
doing
ko
that,
gis.
that's when the slavers caught him. And he never see his mama and his papa again in his whole life. You old African! I found you! Kunta Kinte! I found you! I found you! I found you!
Yow African bi Kunta Kinte gis naa la.
nañ sant yàlla ne kenn ci ñun koo xam ne
Praise be to Allah
yàlla histoire
for one long lost to us whom Allah has returned. Welcome, son of Kinte.
jërëjëf sa biir kër
Welcome to your village. He says, we are you and you are us.
Benelano.
Jàmm. Go in peace. Jàmm. Sëriñ bi. Jàmm ak.
Yes. That's who I am. Kinte.
Abdul Elkar Musad Kinte. Kinte, Kinte.
My cousin Kinte.
Salam alaikum.
Malaikum salam. My cousin Kinte. All of my family members whom you have seen depicted in this television dramatization either were or are actual living human beings. We were deeply moved to see the book and film of Roots become perceived worldwide as synonymous with family. Before you get to the nations, the races, the creeds, or any of the other circumstances we human beings like to regard as differences between ourselves, we are first many millions of families sharing this earth. After the miracle of life itself, our greatest human common denominator is families. I feel that's why Roots touched a universal human pulse. If I seek what's recommended to us by this global response to Roots, I find two simple acts which can only help strengthen families. We should interview our family's oldest members. Ask them, please tell us all their memories hold about those relatives who lived before us. Often we'll exclaim later, why didn't you tell us this before? And they'll say, nobody ever asked me. After learning all you can from all sources you can, make a written record of your family's history. And next, periodically, we should hold family reunions. Their message is powerful to all who attend them, especially to a family's younger members. What's conveyed to youth is, you belong to a family which obviously cares about itself, which takes pride in itself, and which rightly expects you to contribute to your family's reasons for pride. Roots couldn't serve a greater purpose than to increase our awareness as individuals, as societies, as nations, that our first source of strength is our families. And thank you from the family of Kunta Kinte.